Good afternoon and welcome to session 3 of the 2020 Forest Growers Conference. The conference this year, presented as a series of webinars, is the once-a-year opportunity for you as participants in the industry to update your knowledge and understanding of the Forest Growers Research Program over the past 12 months. For those of you in attendance with other demands on your time, you will appreciate the efficiency of the webinar format. So if you know of anyone who may not be here today, this session is repeated on day 2. And I believe registration is still open. My name is John Schrider and I currently represent small growers through the New Zealand Farm Forestry Association on the Forest Research Committee. The session this afternoon is entitled Online Tools and Other Species Updates and has been designed to be of particular interest to small forest growers. Those of you seeking to understand what tools are available to assist you in maximising returns from your forest investment, as well as update progress with work on realising the potential of other species, will find these presentations of interest. We also know that corporate and larger privately funded forest growers are continually exploring options for greater commercialisation of species other than radiata, and this to a large degree is driven by the need to consider risk of climate change effects as well as mounting social licence pressures, notwithstanding the need to be economically viable. We will get a sense of the scope, scale and direction of this work over the next hour or so. First up, we have Glenn Murphy, who will demonstrate the use of his recently developed woodlot analysis tool, WATS. Many of you will know Glenn and be familiar with his contribution to forest research over a long period of time. His specialty is forest harvesting and harvest systems, and the WATS web-based tool enables users to input their own forest description data to provide indicative costs and returns. This will be followed by a presentation by Scion's Melissa Evans, who will demonstrate use of the forecast calculator. This is one of several tools available primarily for the small woodlot owner trying to understand the volume and product mix of a forest stand nearing harvest age. Output from the calculator provides high-level data to enable better informed discussion and negotiation when the woodlot owner is communicating with harvest providers. Following the online tool demonstrations, we have 5 presentations on some of the more common other species that potentially offer alternative forest revenue streams. The Specialty Wood Products Research Partnership between government and industry seeks to develop a high-value specialty wood products industry based on alternatives to radiata pine, and we will hear about progress since the program initiation in 2015 from our lineup of speakers. Natural and exotic forest description data suggests there is around 10,000 hectares of cypresses in New Zealand. I note some of the earliest plantings date back to the 1860s, but note also around 70% of the resource to be up to 20 years old. So there is recent developing interest, and here to tell us about this is Scion's Toby Stovall. Next up we have Paul Millen of Vineyard Timbers Limited, who will update us on the continuing work on the durable eucalypts. Paul, of course, has been the main driving force of the New Zealand Dryland Forest Initiative over the past 10 to 15 years, and that work is concentrated on 3 principal species for genetic improvement, species I won't try and pronounce due to my inherent difficulties with the Australian language. Tony Stovall will then return after catching his breath to cover the non-durable species of eucalypts, namely Nitens, Fastigata and Regnans. Some of us will be familiar with the rather mixed successes of larger scale commercial eucalypt plantings in the 1990s, predominantly for pulpwood production. However, this program is aimed more towards breeding for growth, form and wood density for solid wood products. Commercial plantings of redwoods have occurred since the early 2000s, and it is interesting to observe the performance of this species as you drive some of our country roads. Simon Rapley of the New Zealand Redwood Company will share some of his wisdom and update of work since a previous presentation, I believe was 2 years ago, at the Tauranga Forest Growers Research Conference. Finally, this afternoon we have Ian McIver of Plant and Food Research, who manages the poplar and willow breeding program for the New Zealand Poplar and Willow Research Trust. We generally understand the benefits of willows and poplars for erosion control and stock shade and shoulder, and with increasing scrutiny of our land use social licence, this work is timely as we hear more and more about compulsion around such things as farm plans and tightening water controls. Hopefully more planting of these versatile species will become increasingly important in our land use decision making. Can I please ask that you submit your questions as we work our way through the presentations? At the conclusion of Ian's presentation, we will then proceed to 20 minutes of live Q&A. So here to get us started is Glenn Murphy.